said ladies first, right? Is you a lady?
Sometimes when the mood is full.
Cynation TV.
Oh yeah!
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Evolution of Creation. I'm Josh Mak, and we've got your host Aaron Mak back with us again.
Howdy folks, welcome back to another episode of Evolution of Creation. Of course, we got a different character hosting today. We're joined today by our very, very special guest, Miss Ana Hristenko. Would you like to introduce yourself, little missy?
Hi, my name is Ana. Nice to be here.
Thanks for coming on our show.
No problem.
Thank you for saying it's nice to be here. It's a hot as fuck day. Now, today we're going to be doing a very special discussion. We're going to be talking about the two different means of learning and approaching music, singing, creation, guitar, instrument playing, whatever you call it now. We've got Miss Ana Hristenko here. She's going to be presenting the side as a classically trained Russian opera singer. Now, she went to school for it, very proper, very professional. As you can see in her business suit, it's legit. On the other side here, we have Mr. Joshua Mak, who he came from the school of, no school.
That's right.
No education, and non-academic, and a non-professional.
Hot dang.
Don't copy me. Very unprofessional. So we're going to be talking to both of them, and we're going to be asking them about the pros and cons of both different approaches, because we know nothing's perfect except for Jesus. So firstly, because I am a gentleman...
Hold up. Is the mic and the camera on this time?
Yes, the mic and camera's on this time. Please get off my back about it.
Don't take that tone with me.
You don't take that tone. I said ladies first, right? Is you a lady?
Sometimes when the mood is full.
Only when he has to use the bathroom. Now, sorry, my lady. I didn't mean to interrupt. She didn't mean to interrupt. I'd like to ask you, since, you went to school, he didn't. What are some of the pros of, like you being formally trained, learning music, singing through school?
Yes. First of all, is the discipline. Second is the teachers. Teachers know better than the students, so they'll share with you, teach you the right way to do it.
It's a little bit easier that way, right? Because you don't have to go looking for the answers, they know it. They're the experts.
Yes. We have different classes, such as ear training, have been very beneficial to me as a musician.
Can I just ask real quickly, for the dumb motherfuckers like me out there, what in God's green earth is ear training? You strap fucking weights to the side of your ears and you do push-ups and, like the cock push-up with your ears?
No, we have a class such Garmonia.
Garmonia.
No,
Garmonia.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Stupid.
the teachers will, so the students will learn all the black and white notes in the whole piano.
African American notes for our audience out there.
And we will learn all the chords, and after that the teacher will play anything, even one, even two, or septachord or whatever, and we will guess what it was.
So it's a straight up it's like instant note recognition, I just go ding, and then you know what's going on,
Yes.
And you memorize the sounds of the entire piano,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
A to B to C to
Yeah.
Q to
And we have examples.
LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Oh damn, that's a lot of keys.
Yeah. Also, we have practice in a choir, duet, trio, quartet.
I'll say that's a pretty good thing actually coming out of school, because from what I know, if you don't go to school, it's a bit hard to do maybe a duet. You might find a friend or something. who you can duet with, but like a choir or a quartet, it's hard to find, so many other people who are doing the same thing to try and practice that. But a school gives you that.
Yeah, but the good thing about that is it helps you to listen to only you and do not distract by other voices, parts. Yeah.
Don't let the heathens distract you from Jesus.
Yeah.
Amen.
And the school is good for you is that you will find your vocal range and what your voice is capable and what is not, because sometimes students don't know what they capable of, and sometimes they hurt his vocal cords.
And I think that's very important, because all my life I wanted to sing like the Bee Gees, and I ended up, like hurting myself real bad. So like, how do the teachers at the school, how do they test for like, figuring out your vocal range, like whether soprano, tenor, bass, and all that?
Yeah. First they will ask you to sing one of the favorite songs, and through that they already know what your soprano, your mezzo soprano, coloratura soprano.
That's a lot of sopranos.
Tony Soprano.
Tony Soprano.
So and then from that maybe they will do specially for you the warm up and maybe even improve your voice.
That's pretty good, because I feel like, outside of a strict schooling system, it might be hard to tell because, for example, I might think I'm good at singing the Bee Gees. I think that's exactly in my range, that crazy high soprano. And, if I try and, if I don't have a teacher, people might just kind of tell me like, yeah, you sound great, even though I sound like, dying whales and shit. So it's good to have a teacher because then they can tell you like, don't sing the Bee Gees, you sound like, your voice sounds like shit.
Yeah, that's also good that the teacher will never, they will say straight up, and they're very strict Russian teachers.
Actually, I want to
Russian wives too.
Well, yeah, well, that's a discussion for another day now. I'll leave that out of the interview room now. I want to probe a little bit on that, because, I've only ever experienced a little bit of Australian schooling. What is the Russian system like? Is it? It sounds kind of stricter. Is it? How long does the course go for?
Course?
I mean, like study. How long did it take for you to study?
It takes like college. It takes about 6 years.
Oh dang!
And then another 6 years is the higher, like university.
Oh shit, so you can, so technically you can be doing a total 12 years.
Yeah.
Fuck me sideways. People here do 3 years, get a degree, but they ain't got no job. Like me.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty damn impressive. So what are some of the things in the 6 years that, you'd be kind of training? Like, is it just specifically opera, or is it, all kinds of music, all kinds of singing? What exactly is?
In school, we also study acting class and dancing.
It's kind of like K-pop school.
Surgery in the last year.
You can't feel that one.
Yeah, it's solo singing, duet, trio. That more focus on that, of course, than the dancing and.
But that still sounds like a hard exam. There's so many different elements you have to get right.
Yeah, we do exams every 6 months, and is about we do 8 to 9 compositions, like songs.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
And if everybody knows, opera and classical music, that shit's long.
Yeah.
God damn. All right. I mean, that's a great, list of pros, I think, for people considering, Yes, Mr. Joshua Tree.
Well, I'm just recalling from an earlier episode that we taped but didn't record.
we don't talk about that one.
Could we please see a demo of opera singing?
Oh yeah.
It's a good showcase of some of the things you learn.
I haven't been
Warmed up?
prepared for that.
It's 28 fucking degrees.
It's plenty warm in here. You can see my sweat glisten.
All right.
Ana Hristenko.
Я весело, меня так все знают и меня с улыбкою встречают. Я молода, красива, друзья бегут за мной веселой толпой.
Sweet baby Jesus. All right, I'm not
That
saying.
wasn't good.
I'm not saying you can't learn that out of school, but it does sound like something you do learn from school. So, thank you very much, Ms. Ana Hristenko, for your prose. Very nice, succinct list, very comprehensive. Now we're gonna turn the page over to Mr. Joshua Tree Mak.
Well, since we got a Russian team, yeah, I decided I will do interview as Gopnik.
No, you fucking won't. You're gonna shit yourself. You're gonna fall over and break the goddamn glass table.
I am not a real Gopnik. I haven't mastered the squat yet.
This is a foul squad.
Alkoholichka.
Alright, settle down, Mr. Lagushka.
Alright, come on.
Yes, I know a thing or two about Russians. Okay, sir, Mr. I didn't go to school. Mr. No School of Rock.
Get on with it.
Mr. High School Dropout. Okay. What are some of the pros of not learning through school during the self-taught method?
Well, before I answer that question, I want to say that I am not really advocating for school or no school. I'm only speaking, as in I'm not saying...
He's a moderate.
Well, no, not that. I only speak for myself. All right? I'll speak what works for me. I don't think school works for me. I'm not going to tell other people that don't do music school or do music school, because I think it depends on the individual, what your goals are as a musician, various factors.
Alright.
Okay, but for myself, no, I didn't like school. I didn't like school in the academic sense. I didn't like school for music or many of these things. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy learning and studying. I just didn't like the structure of school.
Was this in terms of the school you refer to, because I know that you grew up in Singapore, as did I. Oh my sweet Jesus! We don't want to.
I didn't say nothing.
You didn't say nothing, but would you say that it was a case of specifically Singapore school? Is that where you learn? Did you learn music in Singapore?
The first experience I had with music was when I was 7 years old. Right. My parents sent me for piano lessons.
Me too.
Yeah, I hated it. I absolutely hated them. It was just, what was it? Brahms' Lullaby was one of the first exams.
I didn't even get to the exam.
It was ridiculous. I got to the exam, I failed it. I wasn't surprised, nobody was. I wanted to quit after the first day, but mom and dad said, at least do it up until the first exam. If you fail, we'll never speak of it again. And I made sure that I failed. I put so little effort. And I didn't recall any of it. I hated it, didn't enjoy it. Didn't like any of those songs. Hated the piano, didn't want to touch it for years. When I was 12, for some strange reason, I asked my dad, I said, hey, could you get me a guitar? I'd like to learn.
Do you know where that came from? Was there...
Well, why guitar? I was really into the band Oasis. At that time, this was 1997.
Right.
They were the biggest artists in the world.
I was 2 years old.
Yeah. And I really liked their songs and I wanted to be able to play their songs. And they're pretty much guitar dominated band, as a lot of bands of that time and from before, as I started to listen to more stuff. And I realized that, oh shit, if I learned the guitar, I could play, heaps of different styles. So that's why I thought guitar instead of piano or, drums or whatever.
So, around that point in time, it's very different from nowadays. You don't have Musician, you don't have YouTube. How did you go about learning, let's say, Oasis songs?
There was two ways we would learn. First thing you did is you went out, you bought a cheap guitar. In fact, if you pass that to me.
Yep. Oh man.
This right here.
Oh, I recognize this baby.
This is my very, very first guitar,
Alright.
which I still have. It's probably, it's a bit over 20 years old now.
Holy shit.
And it still sounds.
It's legal.
It's not even in tune. Very out of tune, but I still have it. Yeah, I've sold some guitars along the way, but I've always kept that one.
I didn't bump it. That's not the sound you heard.
Put it on the floor. Just put it down.
I'm gonna put it down. The ribbon came off.
So I got two things at the music shop. It was that guitar and what you call a chord dictionary.
Okay.
It was basically, it was just a sheet of cardboard that had all your basic chords on it. And it showed you like, you know, where to fret it.
It's pretty helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, there was maybe,
I still have it.
yeah, there's, you can buy like ones that are entire books, but the one I had was just one sheet and it had something like, I don't know, 15 chords or something. Which for 90% of the music in the world, that will help you play
You
everything.
got it. Yeah, you got it covered.
Yeah. So all I had to do was take that. I learned all the chords on that. And then we had CDs, but I still had a few cassette tapes at that point as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you just play the song and you try to figure it out. You keep rewinding and playing. And that was I didn't know the name for it, but I guess in our way, that was our ear training.
Okay.
By listening to tapes and then figuring it out. So, but it wasn't just ear training, there was also training that, you know, we, you know, subconsciously were doing with, you know, familiarizing the chords and, you know, your finger movements and all that.
So I mean, like bringing up the whole thing of you know, modern times. You've got it's such easy access to learning, you know, how to play the guitar, how to play instruments, how to sing. What would you say was some of the pros of like self-teaching? Not just self-teaching versus no schooling, versus schooling, but self-teaching then versus now.
Self-teaching now is almost the same as going to school.
All right.
Apart from the discipline still has to come from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people aren't disciplined and school helps, but I never looked at it as discipline. I looked at it as if you were passionate enough and it was fun to us. You know, to me, I really enjoyed it. So there was no need to like be disciplined to practice. If anything, you needed to be pulled away to like go clean your room, go to school, like go do homework because you just wanted to play guitar.
Sounds like me in video games.
Yeah, there was no need to discipline ourselves because we were so passionate. It was an obsession, really. You know, you play for hours and you try to outdo each other. Like I practiced 2 hours yesterday, so oh shit, I'm gonna do 4 hours. I'll do 6 hours, you know?
Right.
And to answer your question on today and back in those days, things were not easily available. So you either learn from, like I said, these chord dictionaries. There were books available and instructional videotapes, which were very, very expensive. Now it costs you nothing. You go on YouTube, you type in.
It's all free. You can get it online.
I also have experience to learn guitar by my own, but I feel like I need someone who know better than me and help me. I can play chords, I can strum, but it will be even more helpful.
You find it's a bit easier to learn.
For me, especially for me.
Yeah, especially for you.
No, I mean.
Particularly you.
Yeah. I like when I'm with someone who know better than me, then I will be better.
Do you reckon maybe that could be a bit of influence from your background in schooling, you know, because you learn singing through school, maybe that you're more, you prefer to learn even like any other, like guitar, through a teacher?
Maybe, but anything you learning something, you have a question and there is no one, more helpful when a live human
That's a fair point. You prefer that over
Yeah.
just going to a YouTube video
Yes,
or
yes.
Yahoo Answers and all that?
Yes.
I see.
Well, you see, like you said, I just learned before YouTube, so these things weren't readily available, and I think part of the fun was trying to work it out.
Was fucking up.
Yeah, you learned a lot from fucking up, and we used to, like, you'd hear a CD and you hear Van Halen play, right? And you'd go like,
I don't want to touch that shit.
well, the thing was, you had no idea how he was doing it. You know, the first time people heard Van Halen, they couldn't figure what he was doing. They didn't know he was tapping.
It's the devil.
Right, because you couldn't explain it. Nowadays, you don't even have to wonder. Everybody knows because everything's available.
There's a demystification of all this. Eh?
I think you lose something from that. Like, I'm kind of torn because on one hand, the ease of access has made guitar appeal to a lot of people. It's easily accessible. But there was something definitely about having to struggle and to try to find that it really it tested you, like how passionate were you about it? Like how much did you really love it, when it's not given to you so easily. And also one reason why I didn't like school was because the music I was into, and I loved a lot of heavy metal and rock music, schools didn't exist for that. There was no school.
Was that maybe a Singapore thing?
No, I mean, okay, nowadays on YouTube you have YouTubers doing all sorts of things, right? But back then there was no YouTube, and schools were classical schools like what Anna did. If you wanted to learn classical,
Like piano, heaps of piano schools, I know.
yeah, but even piano is always classical stuff, right? Or there's some basic pop stuff and all that, but there weren't any metal schools. There weren't any. I really was into the heavy melodic death metal scene, right? And
Very uncommon to find a school for that.
well, I don't even think there is. I mean, there's YouTubers now that talk about it. But like Anna said, there's a school that teaches you how to sing soprano and alto. But there was no school that taught you how to go like, yeah!
But see, it's funny because you said there's a school that can teach you how to sing soprano, but
Why would they teach that?
Because not everyone can do it. It's just as valid a skill as a soprano singer.
because you'll need it for that kind of music, and maybe some people
Movie, yeah.
horror movie, like the
Yeah.
demonic possession that.
In Flames have a great album. But even, other things like guys like say Pantera, we're taking over this town.
That's almost like voice acting.
Right, and he goes into just segments like that. Or your King Diamond,
Spirits rise out of my grave. You don't even know how to teach that one. I mean, that's the thing. You don't have.
well, no one asked
have
that, right?
schools.
And I was into all these bands and all these music, and the only way you could learn it was you saw someone do it at a gig.
You just try and emulate that.
Or you try to ask him, like, hey, how'd you do that? And that's how you learn it. You learn it from, meeting people, talking to people. You never got like full lessons, but you got tips here and there. And then the rest of it was experimenting and self-discovery.
See, all in all, it's interesting because hearing the pros of going to school and hearing the pros of self-taught, I think as well, it's something to take, that I think self-taught has changed over the times. But the thing that, in your era of self-taught and, when you went to school is that people, the people have such a big impact. You're learning from people who know more. In your case, you're saying you're figuring things out on your own, but you're also checking with people to learn all these other things, to demystify what you've got. In the school's case, you've got teachers who help demystify it for you, but you have to go to school. In the self-taught, you have to begin demystifying yourself, but no matter what, you still can't just, completely do everything alone. You still have to find out from people at the end of the day.
Yeah. You would, there were, I don't know whether it's, we actively seeked people out.
Can't mean that.
Well, no, because here's the thing, like, if I went to a gig, right, and I saw somebody do something amazing, we'd go talk to him. I used to go with Andrew to the jazz festival every year in Singapore. And I think we were the only two people who were actually there to watch the band. Everyone else was sitting at the back with wine and just like,
For the ambience.
and then at the end you'd see the two of us in the front going.
Like a bunch of nerds.
Yeah, and then we walk up and I was like, oh, that was really cool. What were you doing there? You know? So it was in times like that with CCAR, we never like consciously, thought, okay, today we're gonna go find, it was while we were going to doing things while we enjoyed. It never felt like work because we only ever practiced or did things we liked. Which is why I say like, the things that I'm saying have worked for me. If you wanted to be a session musician, I don't think this would work. I think as a sessionist, you do need to be able to read music, to know a wide range of music. Whereas in my case, I was only ever interested in working and developing my stuff. And as long as I attained the skills and knowledge I needed to do what I was gonna do, that was good enough for me.
Yeah, that's something I think I can relate to because I did go to school for certain things and I did feel that it was a case where, you're prepared a little bit more for a wider range of things, even though you might focus on one thing. Whereas in your self-taught case, it's kind of like, you're not so good with adapting necessarily to things outside of your comfort zone, but you kind of specialize on a certain thing. So, because it's too goddamn hot in Australia right now, our equipment overheated. And I overheated, I was sweating like a Taliban in interrogation.
Yeah, bushfires be trending again real soon.
They coming back now.
Fuck you, Leonardo DiCaprio.
And was it Rihanna? Whatever. Anyways, so
I'm not involved.
Yeah, she is a safe space, safe space bubble. Anyway, we're now gonna be asking these folks about the cons because no system is perfect now. Ana Hristenko, can you please tell us a little bit, what are some of the cons of learning singing through the school system?
Oh, there's gonna be a long list.
Nobody asked you, alright? You shut your mouth.
Yes, of course. The first is, unfortunately, you can't do what you want. Sometimes I feel like wanna add a little bit my
Like your own style.
style, like a little bit pop or rock. Unnecessary. But they, of course, they won't do that. Yeah, that's.
You have to follow what they teach you, the curriculum.
The follow program. The follow program. What other thing is, they don't teach you how to write a song or how to like express yourself. I think I'm more sad about that.
That's actually an interesting point because I can relate to that, like even learning film through a school, they sort of teach you how to analyze, they teach you all the different types. They don't necessarily teach you how to create. That's not all schools, I know some do, but that does seem to, I think it's a bit of a limitation sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. Other than that, it's good.
Damn, alright, okay, not a very big cons list, but fair enough. Let's hear Mr. No School, Mr. Uneducated.
Well, one of the cons I will say, without formal training, is picking up some bad habits.
All right.
I'll give you a little one. It's not really a big deal. I've got a guitar that I prepared earlier. Now, a lot of people who went to school and learned how to play a G chord, they fret it like this.
Gonna need to zoom in for that one.
Yep.
That's okay. We've
with
got
the little
hands.
finger. And the reason why a lot of them do it is when they go to a G7, they just drop that.
Oh wait, seriously? That's how you fret it? That's how you're supposed to fret it?
Well, that's what I've seen a lot of school-taught people fret it this way.
Oh, I don't fret it like that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've always fretted my G like this.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Hey, me too.
You see, it's what happens when we don't go to school.
The thing is, I've had no problems making the switch. I can still play it like this. Or...
It's just, there's more finger rearrangement.
There is, but that's how I learned how to do it, And that's how you do it because you learned it yourself.
That's
You learned it yourself, and that's what I mean. Like when you're self-taught, you learn these things. I don't see how it's been a problem though. There are some bad habits, maybe in certain things with the way you pick, it can take a longer process sometimes when you learn yourself. It's much quicker with lessons and someone teaching you to learn a certain thing. However, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
Because this longer process can also, you learn other things along the way.
Like?
Well, it's that discovery, through your mistakes.
Oh, yeah. You fuck up, you learn from that. This is sounding like a sort of half con, half pro list.
Well, once again, because I'm speaking for myself and I really don't see the cons. Of course, there are things like, once we get a bit more advanced and you start talking about music theory, I think music theory is useful, but also depends on what your end goal is.
All right. Like you said, in your case, you didn't learn how to read sheet music. So if your end goal was being a sessionist, you'd be fucked in the hole.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'll be hopeless if you just handed me the sheet music and say, play this. However, I did spend many years playing bass in the church.
All right. Praise Jesus.
Yeah, that's right. Which is kind of like a session player. And very often we'd turn up for service and sometimes we didn't even have rehearsals. They didn't prepare it. The good thing is that Christian songs are incredibly predictable with very simple chords.
Because God plans everything.
Well, God needs to be palatable. But the advantage of that is, as long as you have your ear training, which, like I said, we developed as a self-taught musician differently, you just listened out to what they were playing.
In real time, or?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. All right.
They just might rock up and if you're lucky, they'll say we're playing this song in G, this song in A. Sometimes they don't, they just start playing. The Holy Spirit takes over and he goes into another song. So you just watch and listen and it can still be achieved. I guess if it was a more complex piece of music, it would help if you had ear training and sheet music. But I don't think it's unachievable. But when it comes to, for myself, my main goal and what's important to me is composing, writing original material, and I have not seen how school could benefit me in that sense.
All right, interesting. I mean, that's quite a comprehensive list, really breaking down the pros and the cons of going to school, not going to school. And I mean, all in all, I think my personal takeaway is that it really depends on what you're trying to do. I think certain schools, like when it comes to singing, certain things, I think to me, opera sounds like the kind of thing you have to go to school for. You have to have that formal training. You can try and emulate, but I think, even myself, when I try and do a little bit of my own little opera dilly dads, I did have a tiny bit of, singing training formally through school. And I think that also informs my, my ad-libs from there on. So I think all in all, depends what you ultimately want to do, so we got two different schools of thought here. Thank y'all for coming down to the studio today, presenting two different schools of thought. Let us know what you think, and if you'd like us to continue doing what we do and praising the good Lord's name, hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to check out our merchandise. Show us. Oh, you ain't wearing the t-shirt, you goddamn heathen.
You show us.
We out to crucify you right now. We've got our lovely Cynation muscle tees. If you call the number here right now, get them ordered first. No, we ain't got no special deals now. But, we kind of do. As you can see on the back, we got a nice, it actually in Japanese says, we love Jesus, we praise Jesus, let's rock and roll for Jesus, all right? If you didn't know that one. You can get it by messaging us on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, RedTube. I mean, don't worry about that. And we also have other merchandise on Teespring. Dumbass. I always get it right. Teespring, as you can see, we got lovely designs in the links. By the way, you might also have recognized from the photo for the Cynation muscle tee merch, this lovely belladonna right here. And yeah, I mean, if you want to, praise the Lord, don't forget, all your money will help fund this Church of Rock and Roll right here.
Please like and subscribe to see every episode that comes out every week.
You bet your bottom dollar.
Right, and in closing, just something I want to say. To sum up this entire debate on school versus no school, I think one of the really important figures in music, who's also made headlines recently, Mr. John Linden, for wearing, well, go look it up.
Yep.
He said, "'Cause I wanna be anarchy, fucking destroy